Hello and welcome to the Total Clarity Podcast. My name's Jesse Hyatt.
And I'm Mike Varley, and behind us you hear our friendly New York Police Department playing Thriller from their PA system, because that's what amounts to outreach in this city. We have a guest with us today, the lovely Lauren Barree. He is a musician, a writer, and an all-around amazing artist. In fact, he is the genius behind our intro song.
These are big words for a small song, so I appreciate, the G word. Usually when I'm talking about geniuses in the park, it's very late and I'm not sure what they've been drinking. But I'm honored to be called a genius orally of the day. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We're excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people have complimented your work. They think it's a really great way to intro the show, and they have asked for some info on the music itself, like where to hear it and whatnot. But why don't you tell us a little bit about how it came to be?
Sure. Are we sure we don't want to re-record with me not doing that bad joke about genius?
No, I mean,
Right.
I am fully confident you're going to continue to do bad jokes. So.
Okay, very good.
And good jokes too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real.
I would say most of your this is maybe another introduction to you, but I'd say most of your jokes are good jokes.
All right.
We might be looking at a 9-to-1 ratio, good to bad.
Oh,
Does that feel good?
That's generous at best. I think most
the
people
real
put it
ratio
at
that will
6 to
be
4.
important to keep a hold on is the tangential ratio to staying on topic ratio.
Ah, yes.
Right.
So, back to the topic of the song.
That's right.
So the song, and I'm just to try to thwart your program here.
Okay.
What if we do a move of chess between every answer and question?
Okay.
What if just not to put a wrench in your wheel, but
Let's
just
try it.
raising the stakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if you feel like it. All right. Mike Varley
Can that go
moves a
2?
pawn
I thought
to
that could only go 1.
E3.
When you're starting, you can go 2.
Okay.
The song, coincidentally, is called Chess Street, for those not familiar. Tell us about it.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So I wrote that song actually a long time ago, in 2012 when I was living in Portland, Oregon. I moved there without really knowing hardly anyone, and certainly no one of my age range. Some very dear friends of the family who became very close friends. My grandmother's best friend's son and his wife live in Portland, and kind of took me in. I crashed with them for a month, I think a month or two, while I figured out, what I was, what part of the city I would maybe move to, and I was kind of just having a bit of an exploratory time right after college, and I moved to Southeast Portland. I was teaching in an after-school program. I was teaching songwriting and music. And there was this guy who appeared one day. I don't know, I actually don't have any recollection of who he knew at the house. But I was living in this house in Southeast Portland on Gladstone and 26th. And in this place was this group of trad scene musicians.
Okay.
As in Macedonian folk or Balkan music.
Yeah.
And they were just really into all of those types of music, AKA they couldn't stand the kind of poppy music I was making, or indie pop or whatever you want to call it, orchestral indie at the time. And they couldn't stand it, and it was great. I hadn't, my ego needed that. I hadn't really been around people in college who were just very openly, very frank about, this is really shit music you're making. And it was refreshing to, the honesty. So I was kind of rethinking, how much do I listen to this kind of criticism? How much do I not? And I think ultimately I decided that it didn't really matter. and then I should just keep, making stuff,
Yeah.
obviously. But it was at that house, that's why I mentioned the story, I guess, of the house, that there's this guy, and I honestly, in my mind, he's like this character, this like mystery character, because I don't remember where he came from. I don't know why he was there. I don't remember his name. But this guy who's like a traveler or something crashed at our house, I guess, or maybe he was just passing through town. I don't know. This mystery traveler guy was at the house one day, maybe seeing one of my roommates or something, and he had a guitar, and we were talking about music, and I was very late in the game with just about a year or two before that, sadly. I'd only then really gone through my very late Bob Dylan phase that everyone goes through usually a decade earlier or so than I did.
Wait, you're thinking the average age of Bob Dylan is
Teenager.
like 12? Teenager?
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't do
that
it
wasn't
until
for me.
college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So mine was like just at or / after college.
Okay.
Okay.
Which was a little weird, especially for someone who like claimed to be like, I make music.
Right.
So I don't know. I'd gotten into some Dylan, but I didn't know, past a couple albums that I loved. And this guy gave me a book of Dylan lyrics, and said he's like, he's writing some songs, and we got to talking, and we said, he said, how about if I come back tomorrow, and we both, write a song between now and then. And I don't know. It was kind of like dorky, like theater workshop feelings,
Yeah.
mixed with like cool, mysterious traveler dude.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I don't really remember actually if I might be telling the story wrong. I haven't really thought about this in a long time. Either we wrote something and then showed each other in the backyard the next day when the guy came back, or we like maybe wrote on the spot something separately for an hour and then went to it might have been the latter. Anyway, I wrote a bunch of lyrics, just threw them up, and it was like the most, it was kind of very kind of stream of consciousness-y feeling. And that's the song. And I guess that's about as much as, it's already past the point of a lot of words.
So there's a degree of mystical undertone to it. I mean, not necessarily something that came entirely from you, but was, kind of blown in from somewhere else and then just as easily departed. Like, how long was he in your life?
Not any time before or after that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I never saw him again.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the Highly Varlet Total Clarity podcast, I send you my thanks, mysterious man.
I wonder if he is
Just another listening to the
listening,
podcast. Right now.
if he's heard the song also.
Oh, that'd be funny. It wasn't really, wasn't like a famous, wasn't a hit. That project never took off or anything.
Yeah.
But I guess I played it in a lot of venues and opened for some bigger acts and kind of did some fun things in that phase. But
Well, I've always enjoyed it a lot, of course. We not only use it for the podcast, but a number of years ago we had the Quickie Crest Film Fest, which
Oh yeah.
showed some of Jesse and I and a number of other people's sketch comedy show, Good Clean F, as well as my movie Brunch the Movie. And part of the fest was collecting a number of short films that were 7 minutes or less in length to show at Crest Hardware in Williamsburg. And we showcased the music video of Chess Street at that festival, which the music video also is definitely, in my opinion, worth watching. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks. Sure. Gosh. I'm jogging my memory. I have not thought about this in so long. So I was in that year living in Portland. I finished making an album of like maybe 14 or 15 songs in the summer. So about half a year into living there. And that fall, I think, I had this idea that I would try to make a music video, and specifically one that was a one-take video with like a choreographed movement around a large space. And so I think it's called Beth Israel in Portland, a synagogue, allowed us to film, which was very generous. And my friend and director Patrick O'Mara filmed this with a Steadicam, and I got, I think, like 10 other friends to all dress as tarot characters.
Oh, I didn't realize that they were tarot.
Yeah, those are actually all tarot. So I was dressed as, I was supposed to be the fool.
Okay.
And
I just kind of pictured them as vaguely Victorian.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a crazy part of it, is we actually got these, we rented these Baroque Renaissance costumes from like 1 or 2 costume stores in Portland, which was really weird and surprisingly not as expensive as you'd think. It was like not too bad. It was really crazy. So between that and my friend Mia, Patty's wife, made all of these fantastic these paintings on cardboard and things, and like the props, like where it says Chess Street by Met City, which was that's the moniker of the old band. Gosh, what else? I think there were swords and things. I'm spacing on a lot of it, but
there was a boat, and then in order to simulate waves, there was fabric attached to sticks that were moved up and down and whatnot. Yeah. But it was, the one-shot nature of it is very well done. There are characters that are getting killed by cardboard swords and then running off camera and then coming back as something else in another iteration, and it really, there's no instance where it feels poorly done. It seems like everybody hits their beat, which is pretty
really impressive.
Cool, thanks. We got there at the synagogue early in the morning, I think, and we just ran through this kind of choreography, or like the steps that everyone was going to move. I don't know how many times, like 15, 20 times or something, to practice before even filming.
Right.
And it was a blast. We rehearsed it, I think, first on maybe a basketball or tennis court or something somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was definitely a weird beginning to basically like adult life was making that. I wish I had a succinct thing to say about it. I guess I'm clearing the cobwebs as we're talking, but such as whose turn is it?
I think it might be our turn. I have another question.
Not that I'm more interested in this chess game than humiliating myself.
Got to keep moving
was
forward
the as far as the instrumentation of the song, which is the thing that most of our millions of listeners would be familiar with, what so you talked about the lyrics, we've talked about the video.
Right.
How is it that the instrumentation, and maybe even in general, how is it when you write songs that the instrumentation comes about? Right. Is it lyrics first and then instrumentation most of the time, or the other way around?
So for me, producing songs for me really comes from songwriting first, and everybody can do it in any number of ways, and there's no one right way. But for me, it's about the song itself first before I ever think about arrangement. Unless, sometimes arrangement ideas can come at the same time. But for me, I like to make sure that that lyrics and melody feel strong, and then and then chords solidified, but sometimes that can happen at the same time. And some percentage of the time I'll do that in reverse, and then I'll think about arrangement. And as a producer, I was either producing my albums and putting together bands, and I would roughly arrange some parts, and other things I would act more as like I would be like a bad band shaman and be like, make this kind of sound or whatever, and hope it went well as I was like figuring out music, and making up for my lack of of knowledge at the time past my own instruments.
Yeah.
Which primarily piano and some guitar. And by then, like, guitar was growing for me. But so at the time, though, my friend Austin produced that album with me, Stockholm Fancy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, so much of what you're hearing is really Austin and his dad, Jim. His dad, Jim Hoke, is playing the flute, and Austin really did the bulk of the arrangement, really. I mean, in terms of the composition, that was like, those are my chords that we kept to, that I'd written on guitar in the weird, elven nook of that house in Southeast Portland. We had this bizarre little, and I used to like kind of hide in it. It was like smaller than I could really fit into, but I would crouch into this and I would have my notebook out because I was teaching aftercare and having a quarter-life crisis. So, like you do, and just trying to write songs and make good on all that was learned from the adventures of meeting Mystery Travel Man.
Yeah.
I wish I remember that dude's name or
I think it's probably better you don't.
Yeah, Mystery Travel Man is good. He can have any name that way.
It really feels cinematic that he's just kind of, this person showed up and was like, you should be thinking more about lyrics like this, maybe.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, right. Mr. Jones cracks me up because he shows up in so many other people's songs. Clearly a different character, but everybody loves Mr. Jones. Have you noticed this? I can't rattle off the song titles and artists, but there are multiple Mr. Jones and famous songs.